What's up, guys? Grog here. Hey, I'm back with another Overwatch workshop video. The first one I did was, I thought, pretty fun, where when you die, you drop an orb that had your ult percentage in it, and anyone could pick it up and add that to their ult. I enjoyed that mode. I thought it was a lot of fun. And I had this other idea for messing around with ultimates in the game. And this idea stems from the fact that I feel like sometimes I am wasting my ultimate by not using it right away. And what I mean by that is I'm waiting for a good time to use it, and I feel like by the time I find that time to use it, could have used it and then built another one up and used that one too. And so this is about ultimate charges, and the way it works is when you get your ultimate, it immediately starts to charge another ultimate, and you get a charge added. You can build up as many charges as you want in the game, and you can use them back to back to back. So I felt like the last video went a little bit long, and so this one I have fleshed out most of it. I'll go over with you what I did and then add some finishing touches and hopefully keep it a little bit shorter than the last video. So without further ado, let's dive into the code. So my first rule here is where I set up my variables. I have 3 variables. I want to talk about a couple of these things for people that haven't done this before. So our event is, you'll notice here, ongoing each player. And what that means is this is going to be specific to every player in the game, which is different from the ongoing global. That will be, everyone will see the same values for that, whereas each player has their own set of values, and their own set of conditions and their own set of actions. So my conditions here are, has the player spawned, and I have that in here. So when you start the game, before you choose your character, we're going to set 3 variables, and these are player variables, not global variables, so they'll be specific to this player. So we just look at that real fast so you can see what that looks like. The first one, I'm setting event player variable A as a number, and we're setting it as 0. This is going to hold our ultimate charges. This next one here, same thing, set up player variable event player, which is referencing who is causing the event. Excuse me, and that'll be for every player will see this. It's going to call it B. You have to choose from this list, so B is the next one on the list. It's also going to be a number, and we're setting it to 0. This one is going to be our current ultimate charge percentage, what we use to hold that. This last one, we're setting it to true, and what this means is, are we building ult? That's what we're storing here, is essentially, are we building ult or are we using our ult? Those are the 2 values. So if it's true, then we're building. If it's false, then we're using. So the next rule we have here is add 1 to ult charge when hit 100%. So as it says, when we hit 100%, we want to add 1 or increment our ult charges. So the way we check for that is our ultimate charge at 100%, and are we building ult? And so this is important. Are we building ult? And I found this through trial and error. It's not like I knew this right away. But what happens is when I say when is it at 100%, you'll see later that I have to set my ultimate charge to 100%, and that will recall this, and I don't want that to happen. So what I say is, are we building ult or are we using ult? If we're building ult and it's at 100%, then we're going to add 1 or increment our ultimate charge count. And the way we do that is we're going to add 1 to what's ever in player variable A. So it starts off at 0, and we're going to add 1 to A every time. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to set player variable B to 0, because the reason we're doing that is, oh, sorry, no, I'm in the wrong one. I thought that didn't make sense. Right? Yeah. Okay, so set ultimate charge to 0. There we go. So we're setting our ult back to 0 because we want to start building again. And then we're going to display through this big message action our ultimate, how many charges we have. And So I haven't really used this much before, so I was working through it. And one of the options you have here is to, well, we're going to use this string action to display a string. And then you have these different options in here. So the one that I chose has two placeholders, 0 and 1. And so these curly braces denote that it's a placeholder. And then we're going to display this arrow. And so whatever we have here, which is this text, ultimate ability, and then whatever we have here. So you can see 0 is ultimate ability, 1, we're going to display whatever is in player variable A. So it's going to say ultimate ability, arrow, our count, which is stored in player variable A. So that all happens whenever we are building our ult and we hit that 100%, which is down here. Whenever we hit that 100%, we're going to add 1 to our count, set it back to 0, and show how many charges we have. So the next thing is if a player hits Q or whatever they have ultimate bound to, what happens? So the first thing is are they hitting that button, the ultimate, whatever they have that ultimate key bound to? So are they pressing that? Do they have any charges? Like, I don't have to check what the ultimate percentage is. I need to know if there's any charges in there. So if they're at 0, then we don't care. If they're at 1, then okay, let's move. Or if they're more than 0, let's move forward. And then we're going to check, are they building ult? And the other way to look at this is, are they using their ult? And that would be the opposite. So they're not using their ult because they're building their ult. So if they're building their ult, this is true. If they're using their ult, this is false. So those are the 3 conditions we need to meet: that they are pressing the ultimate button, they at least have 1 charge, and they aren't currently using their ult. So what happens when we press Q, when we first press Q, or whatever you have your ultimate set to? So we're going to set this is building ult to false, which will allow us to go into this next section and skip over this. We're going to set the player variable B, which is our ultimate charge, to whatever the current charge is. The reason for that is because, say I'm building, I'm on my second charge and I'm halfway through, I don't want to wipe that out. So I'm going to put that into B. I'm going to set my charge to 100%, my current ultimate charge to 100%, because I can't use it when it's at 50%. And then we're going to press the button again for the player. And this is going to be they're not actually going to press it. We're going to make the code press the button for them. And so with this simulated push, we're going to set off this next thing. And this next rule is saying, are we using our ultimate? Well, because we pressed it again here, you can see that we wouldn't redo this. And that's why I had to have this in here. So when I press this, if I didn't have this code here, we would just run this code again. It would be an infinite loop. But because I'm changing this to false here, it won't run, because this is saying it has to be true. So if we're at false, it's not going to run this again. But because we set this to 100% and I press my ultimate button, we are going to be using our ult now. And so that's where this comes into play. So are we using our ult? Yes. And we don't really need this in here. I had this in for testing purposes, just to make sure I had everything set up right. But essentially we're saying, are we using our ult, and do we have at least 1 charge in A? And if we do, then we're going to reset our charge to whatever it was before we hit Q. So we store that here, and then we're going to set our ultimate charge back to that. We're going to then subtract 1 of our charges. After that, we're going to set player variable B, which is our ult percentage placeholder, to 0, because we want to reset that later. And then display how many ults we have now, and then set this back to true to say that, hey, we're back to our building phase. So I know that's a lot. That's a lot to take in. Let's just see it work, and then we'll get into what I want to do to finish this up. So I'm going to double check to make sure I'm saving. It's weird. It's letting me save a whole bunch in here, but like, so let's do this because it wasn't doing this before. So hit save, presets. See, now it does it. It wasn't letting me have multiple games in here, so that's so stupid. Anyway, all right, no, cancel, go back. All right. Yeah, I was saving new, and like I would go to my presets and it would be like none. I'm like, what? All right, well now I have a million versions of the same thing. So we're going to, I just have a ton of people so I can kill them and build ult up quickly. Let's come into here. Get Reaper because I can heal myself and build my ult pretty quickly. Go find some people to murder. Repositioning. And I have the AI set to easy. You know, I'm not good to begin with, but you know, why make things hard on myself? So just build our ult up. I mean, obviously they're not very good. I'm surviving 1 on 6 pretty easily. Oh, come on now. Get that first ult in. So you can see it automatically went to 0. I have 1 charge in my ult. Alright. So I just want to build up 2 ults. I don't really need to kill anyone. My ult will do that. Ah, dang it. I didn't mean to kill you. Heal them, people. Heal them. So, let's get 2 ults built in and then kind of get halfway to a 3rd. That way I can show you that other mechanic. So, okay, now we got 2. Back. We got 11%. Ooh. Nanoed me. Just don't want to die. Alright. Almost at... Alright, 50%. So we're going to use 1 ult. Oh, she slept me. But I can use my other one right away. And you can see that I'm still at 50%. Well, the 51%. And my ult charge went down to 0. See, if I press Q, nothing happens. I'm hitting Q a lot right now. Nothing's happening. So let's just get 1 more. So ultimate 1, and I can use it right here. And you see that I stayed at 0 because I didn't have any built up. So that's that. Now let's go back to the lobby. Let's go back into settings. Go back into workshop. Okay. So what did I want to add? It works. Like this is, you know. The mechanics are all here. You get an ult, it goes back to 0. You start building another one. You can use them back to back. You can build up as many as you want. And specific to each player gets this option. And shows you how many ults you have when you build a new one. The thing that I don't like about this is, what if you forget that you have an ult, right? You're like, I don't know how many I have. So far, I don't know if there's a way to put up a persistent message. I'm going to have to mess around with that, see if that's possible. So right now, I just have a message pop up when you build an ult or when you use an ult. And so in the heat of things, you might forget how many do I have. Now, you can't... The how many isn't necessarily important because when you use one, it'll say, oh, you have 2 left. Or you have 1 left or no left. But the fact that do I have one currently available... and you wouldn't know unless you press Q. So what I want to do is I want to add an effect. And so we're going to hit... Well, we actually don't want to do that. We want to have add 1 to ult. So let's think about this. I need to have this effect happen whenever I have at least 1 ult, but cancel when I have 0. So we want to... Well, let's come to here first. So if we know for sure we'll have 1 here. We won't know. Now, see, I got to think about this. So let's have, let's make a new rule. We're going to add a rule. And it's going to be ongoing each player. All of these are going to be ongoing each player. And we're going to do ultimate charge percent is equal to a number, and we want that number to be 0. So this will happen whenever our ult charge is at 0%. So whenever we use an ult, we want to look at this. So we're actually going to have 2 of these. The first one is going to be ult charge is 0 and player variable and we're going to set this to greater than a number, and that's going to be 0. So if our ultimate charge hits 0% and player variable A, which is our amount of charges, is greater than 0, then we want to have this effect. So we're going to create an effect, and I can't remember what that, so it's just create effect. This will be event player, so we only want this to happen to the person that is going on. So we're gonna do, let's just play around with this. I don't really know. So good aura. Why? Let's do yellow just so we can clearly see it. At event player, position, radius, blah blah blah. I don't know all the details on this. We're gonna have to test this out. So we're gonna do that, and then we're going to copy this, and we're gonna paste the rule. And instead of this being greater than 0, we're gonna say so this double equal sign is programming language talk for equal to, and so if it's 2 equal signs, we're saying it's equal to 0. So if it's equal to 0, we're going to destroy that effect. Destroy effect, last entity created. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe ongoing each player. Hopefully. We'll have to, I don't have any other that I'm creating. I'm just thinking, and it should be okay because we're inside this, the scope of this each player. So it should be the last entity that this player created. And since we're not creating any other ones, it should just be this one, and they should only destroy theirs. So we're going to call this create effect for with I don't know what I'm doing. If player has at least 1 ult, destroy. Sorry, I can't type. Effect if player has 0 ults. Okay, so come back. We're gonna hit save, and I'm gonna put it under grog 1 because let's just rename this all together so we know. Ult charge system. Save that. Okay, now let's go try this out. I don't know what the effect is going to look like, and I'm going to want to go back and add one for the sound, I think. So let's see how this works.
Repositioning.
There we go. Roadhog's an easy fat target, so I usually go after him. Oh, look at that. Oh, I killed him. Okay, so I do not have... Oh, you can see that I do kind of have... I have sparkles-ish. Oh, they got me. So we may need... You can see that... Okay. So what happens? I still have it. So if we do one of these, you can see that I'm glowing to everyone else, not to me. So let's open the editor, and I think that if you change, I learned from my last one, some research I did, you have to like increase this. I don't know. Let's set it to something crazy like 400. And then we have to restart, so we'll go back to show lobby, restart match, see how this works out. Pick Reaper is easy.
Repositioning.
Alright, and we may just need to change what... Oh, they're down here. How are they faster than me? Oh, they got Lucio. Alright, so we can see that I have a lot more sparkles, and I don't know if that is good or bad. Now let's just see if they disappear. They did. So, it works. Does it work the way we want it to? I don't know. I don't know if I love that. So let's go back to our lobby. Settings, workshop. So the destroy effect worked. But let's change this effect to light shaft? I don't know. Let's just see what it looks like. Save it. Hold charge system. Save it. Start it. Alright. Let's just see how this is working out.
Welcome to Hollywood.
Go back.
Death walks among
Oh, come on.
you. Repositioning.
I'm killing too many of them. Okay, so I don't really notice anything. Let's just get further away. Yeah, that one's not doing anything. So let's go back to the lobby. Back to the lobby. Settings. Well, you know, I'm not going to keep you guys here while I, you know, play around with these. I mean, everyone's going to like something different anyway. So let's just, I don't know, put it on sparkles, leave it yellow just so we know. And then the last thing I wanted to try to add was create effect. This one is going to be, so we want it to still be event player. And we want it to be good sparkles sound. Yeah, let's just do that. And set this to 400. Position, blah, blah, blah. Why, it doesn't matter to sound. Okay, and then for this, destroy effects. Destroy effect is going to destroy the last one, so we probably have to do this twice. Destroy effect. So that should do both. Should. I have no idea. I've never done it before, so we'll see. I'm gonna have to delete a lot of those. Dang it. Alright, so one more time. Let's try this out.
Welcome to Hollywood.
And this is kind of my process in case you're interested. I, you know, have AI set up just so I can build up my ult and then test it out, go back, work on it, test it out some more, rinse, repeat. Oh, dang it. Killed him. Alright. So that's not bad. I mean, it's not great. It's it's subtle. I can hear the sound, so let's use it. Ah, see, it did. It did. It got rid of the sound. It did not get rid of. So, let's come out of here. Show lobby. Back to lobby. Alright. Settings. Workshop. Destroy all effects. Now, last entity created doesn't work if we do it twice. So, let's delete that. What can we do? Well, what effect? No. Player. No. So instead of destroy effect, let's look at our effect. Destroy. Okay. Just see what our options are. So, I guess, I mean, we can destroy all effects. My concern is, and we'll have to play for a little bit longer just to see what happens when one of the other team gets their ult. So, because my concern is, are we going to be destroying global effects? So, just test this one more time and then we'll call it a day. And this video is going to be just as long as the last one. Sorry guys. I want this to be useful and I want people to, you know, take what I've done and hopefully be able to use it to create something that they want to create. So, unfortunately, you know, sometimes it can be long. I'll try not to kill anyone, let them do some damage to me, build up their ults. I mean, I still have to get my ult, but... And you know, actually, because I set it to event player, maybe they can't see. And that may be a good point. So... Alright, so I have my ult. And do we really need the sound? Not really. How do I look with this? Ooh, dang. I'm gonna die. Alright. So it did destroy all the effects. Still building up my second ult. So it works. You know, it's not vital to the process, but the actual mechanics work. And that's what was important to me. Getting the mechanics to work so you could build up multiple ults. Let's just do that one more time. So we got one. We know we have one because we got sparkles. Let's build up another one. Ooh, let's go get this belt back. And get some help from him. Alright. Oh dang, she got me. So we have two. We have two ults. Let's get 50%. Come on. Ooh, I may have to use it to stay alive. Alright, we're at 50%, so we can use it. That one was kind of a waste. That one was definitely a waste. But now I'm still at 60%, so it works. I would call it a win. Just kill this last Lucy out of spite. Show lobby. Alright guys, well, I guess the last thing to do would be to publish it, right? So let us share the code. So if you guys are interested and want to play this, it's 57V as in Victor, F as in Frank, H as in Harry. I hope you enjoy it. If you have any comments or questions or ideas, put them in the comments, and see you guys next time.